was just asking me if we could see her. We don't want to lose her. I just let him know that I couldn't, but I'm convinced that she is coming towards us. Okay, they've got her. And she is heading towards that termite mound. She might jump up on there to a vantage point. Let's go and see. Exciting stuff. I know. It's always a tricky thing when guiding, looking at hand signals and what a hand signal may mean from either a tracker or another guide. People going like this or like that. The emotion I got was that she was heading far away, but in fact she was exactly where I left her. Was waiting for her to come and join us, which looks like exactly what she is doing. So that's just one of those things that I should have known better, and I should have just got on the radio and communicated. I think we've had such good views. Good news, she is on the move again. It's not going to be the easiest job for Genre, but let's see what he can make of it. Oh no, he's making easy work of it. There we go. Well done, Genre. And she's walking directly past where our vehicle was parked. But I quite like these long distance views, watching them slink through the undergrowth. As much as, of course, it's great having them walk right past the vehicle. Wonderful. And we were lucky enough to see the same leopard we're looking at now mating with Tingana. It was the big male who was mating with Tile yesterday. And Timmy in Kansas City, could we expect to see signs of her pregnancy from that mating with Tingana? It's important that you guys know that she didn't only mate with Tingana, but also the Anderson male shortly afterwards. And I'm guessing that was maybe 3 weeks ago now. Maybe you guys can remind us of the exact date, but we'll probably only start seeing signs of a pregnancy about 2 months into it. So 2 months into the roughly 3-month period, you'll start seeing an extra flap of skin or tube on her stomach. But it's not easy to see. They're not heavily pregnant like impala or the other herbivores. Carnivores give birth to very underdeveloped young, which makes sense because if they were hugely pregnant, they wouldn't be able to catch food for themselves. So whenever we saw her mating, Timmy, 2 months from then, we'll start seeing signs of babies if it wasn't, in fact, a successful copulation, which I'm guessing it was. Sorry about all the scratching and squeaking. These black monkey orange trees that we drive through. Genre, go ahead. Just give me a quick wipe again. These black monkey orange branches that we drive through make a terrible screech as they scrape along the side of the cars. It sounds a lot worse than it is. There's some guests enjoying the action, and she's going to walk right past the back of her vehicle, it looks like. Her body language is sure to... Yes, here she comes. Awesome. Oh, interesting, Jean. They're straight ahead of us, kind of 1 o'clock. There's a hyena. Look at this. 2 large predators in the same sighting. Can you believe it? I don't think this hyena knows that the leopard's here, but there is a strong chance that it's following the scent of this leopard, and they will follow leopards in the knowledge that leopards are good hunters and that they can steal their food from them. Now I just need to keep an eye on the leopard. I've got her just to make sure she doesn't disappear while we're looking at the hyena. And this is going to be interesting. So slightly. Go leopard, go leopard, go leopard. He's hissing and snarling at this hyena. Go wide, Andre. Look at this. Absolutely awesome. He's hissing and snarling. It's difficult to know what to do to show you the snarling or show you the proximity of the hyena. Look at this. Absolutely fascinating behavior. She's turned around to keep her sharp end facing him. And this hyena is just sniffing around in the area. I'm just going to creep forward ever so slightly quickly. Just sniffing around to see if there's any meat or kills nearby. Okay. Absolutely awesome. Can you believe this? It's remarkable to see how, because there's no meat around, she knows that this hyena's got no business fighting with her. It would be unnecessary. If she had a kill, that hyena certainly would put up a fight. And it's using its incredibly powerful sense of smell to try and work out what's going on. It's smelling exactly where she was sitting earlier. Well, Shadow's completely relaxed now and is actually grooming herself as the hyena reapproaches. But that body language might very well change again. Just making sure there's no evidence of a kill anywhere. Well, what a twist in this afternoon's events. That was really, really awesome interaction to see between two of the large carnivores we get out here, the spotted hyena and a beautiful leopardess. Now, I'm just going to double check what the standbys are for the sighting. As much as I would love to spend the rest of the afternoon here, I think there's a lot of people queuing up to come and see, and even though we are very different to the guides with their guests in terms of the amount of time they have to show them everything, it is important for us to try and behave accordingly when it comes to the standbys. Roy, how many people are standing by? I'm happy to make space. Okay, yeah, we have to go, guys. There's 5 people queuing up to come here, so I'm going to go. And it has been awesome, everyone. We've had such a wonderful sighting of her, and it seems like she is going to relax for the time being. We got to see her stalking and chasing those impala, extremely exciting stuff. And then that interaction with the hyena, who would have thought we would get to see that this afternoon? Absolutely awesome. But like I say, there are 5 vehicles that are queuing in this rainy, horrible weather to hopefully get a glimpse of her, and I think it would make sense for us to give those people a chance. So we're going to move off. We'll try our best to go and find some other leopard now that we can call everyone to. I'm only joking. I'm getting a bit cocky now. Right. That was fantastic. And rather than dragging you through the bundu bashing off-roading that we're about to go through, you have the pleasure of jumping onto Jamie's vehicle, who's heading off in the direction of another wonderful sighting that you guys should enjoy. See you later.
Welcome back, and what amazing luck we have all had with leopards over the last few days. So cool that we get to see Shadow again, and it sounds like she was having a really exciting time hunting those impala. Now in the meantime, Andrew and I have been driving around, and unfortunately we haven't had the same level of luck as Scott has had this afternoon in finding leopards. I'm not sure where Karula went. She has disappeared. But my hero of the day today has to be Eugene, who just called me now to say that he's seen a herd of elephants moving from Inge's house, where we live, across into quarantine. So I've just come through Philemon's Dip. We're heading up there now, and let's see if we can get those wonderful ellies out in the open once again. I've just been keeping an eye on these hyena tracks I've seen in the road, just to give you an idea as to where to follow up later this evening to try and find out where that hyena den has vanished to. Oh, so excited to see more ellies. It's been such a special 2 days with them. That Scott also had a hyena in his sighting with Shadow. Now probably with the Arathusa, him being in Arathusa might mean that it's a hyena from a different clan. It's a good couple of kilometers away from where we usually have the sort of core den sites of this area. I'm just keeping my eyes peeled for ellies so we don't come in here too quickly. Where are you hiding, elephants? Eugene said they were right at Inge's house, which is off to the side there. But the nice thing about that hyena being around with Shadow is it means that the hyenas are out and about in weather like this, moving around, so we definitely have a higher chance of finding out where they've gone. This clearing is looking very open and very pachyderm free. I wonder where they're hiding. Be surprised at how well elephants can disappear. go. Got them. Yay. Well done, Eugene. So there is Inge's house off to our right as we're passing through. That's where some of the crew lives. There we go. Oh, and I think they're going to make their way towards the dam, which is even better than quarantine. Might be heading across for a drink. Oh, interesting. That's very interesting. Tuskless elephant. Big tuskless female. Ah, this is, I think, the same young group that we saw up at Buffelshoek Dam. Hello, big girl. It's got the two young and playful males, one of whom tried to come and intimidate us earlier this morning. Now, I'm sure you're wondering about the fact that this female doesn't have any tusks. And it's not unheard of, it's not common, but it's not unheard of for ellies like this to be born without tusks. It is a genetic thing, although it is possible that she broke them off as well. But most likely it's a genetic abnormality that has left her without tusks. That's very interesting. It doesn't really impede her too much. You can see she's quite healthy and happy looking. And she has got a calf, so she has been breeding perfectly. It just means that she might struggle a little bit with stripping bark. And there goes baby following behind. Very cool. Interesting to see. Just like we see some elephants with big tusks and some elephants with small tusks, sometimes you just see them with no tusks. The rest of the herd is following behind. They've changed direction now. I thought they were going to head across to the dam, but they're actually coming across here, and they are moving towards the open area, which is awesome, and we get to see all of them out together. Now the young bulls that were playing with us are over there. I'm just wondering if they're going to come and say hello again. Duck my head down so we can have a look. Oh, and there's another weenie baby. Oh, we've been so lucky with our elephant sightings. I wonder if this is our little baby from this morning. Awesome stuff. What a treat it's been to spend so much time with these. Oh, bless you, Andrew. Bless you.
I was trying to hold it in.
I know, I saw. Poor Andrew was desperately trying to hold back that sneeze, and as a consequence nearly launched off the back of the car. It is that time of year where there's a lot of pollen and dust about. Oh, little one. Some gentle rumblings happening there. Baby just stopped for a quick drink. And the mom's actually letting the others know, especially this younger one, not to come too close to her. Look at her with her trunk folded up like that. Oh, sweet. Having a really good drink. Please, when we get some nice shots of this baby, definitely take screenshots and share them with us on #SafariLive on Twitter. I would encourage you in this kind of light to do it in black and white, would be our suggestion. See if we can get some really pretty images. Oh, begging for milk. Oh, shame. No, Mom, I wasn't done. Poor little thing. Now, as this mom starts to come past us, we just try and have a look at the flaps of skin between her back legs. Oh, oops! Oh, never mind. There's a stumbling block. Oh, but he's too cute. He is the same one from this morning. Hello, gorgeous. We'll try again at having a moment to suckle now that Mom's found a tree to eat. Oh, but Mom's just not staying still long enough. I really honestly think this might be the cutest baby elephant I have seen. He's such a character. Well, going to go and say, maybe not. Maybe Mom will let me drink again. No, Mommy's moving off. That baby is quite simply one of the most special things I've seen while I've been working at WildEarth. I don't think I'll ever get tired of watching it. Now, apparently many of you are picking up on the fact that there is a herd of ellies at Juma Dam, and that could well be part of the same herd. We're not far away at all. We're just very close to that clearing, probably about 200 meters away from where those ellies are drinking. I'm going to stay with this herd for now, just because we have got this wonderfully entertaining little baby. But it could well be part of the same herd. It could also be part of another herd that is moving through the area. It's not uncommon for elephant herds in the same sort of moving about in the same sort of area to interact with each other, and a lot of the time they can actually be related. Now, if an elephant herd does get really big, reaching 30 or 40 elephants in number, it's not uncommon for it to split apart but still come together every now and again and spend a bit of time with their relatives and their aunts and their cousins. So it could be part of the same herd. I think it might be. We're very, very close to where they are, but we've got them moving so nicely out into the open, and we do have this incredible little character of a baby that I think we're going to stick around here for now. I'm going to stay where I am for the moment. We'll just have a look at what this little one's up to. Oh, still very unstable on legs. It might even be younger than I originally thought. Just seeing it out here. This morning I said it was probably somewhere in the region of 7 months. I'm starting to think it might be a little bit younger. And this little ellie that it's with could well be an older sibling. There's a very good chance of that. Hello. Hello. And gorgeous. Yes, you're still very cute too. Not quite as cute as your younger brother. Look how special this is. This interaction probably between siblings here. There's a good chance that this is an older sister. That's why Mom is being so tolerant of her presence around her baby. And she's very, very gentle. This little one is, this female is probably about 5 or 6 years old. And we've got a perfect family shot of these three. And she'll practice the mothering skills that she's going to need in the future on her little brother. She's actually being quite protective. She's making sure that she stays between us and the vehicle, between us and the little baby. Oh, trying to suckle. Oh, you're still hungry, little one. Oh, we've got ellies everywhere. I can't describe the feeling of peace that you get when you're with elephants. It's just something you have to experience yourself. Some rumbling happening. This little baby, I don't think I could ever get enough of. It really is too adorable. Even the head shape looks so young. It's almost just a perfect little baby specimen. Oh, Mom, I'm trying to get a drink, Mom. So precious. Oh, we've got an up close and personal visitor. Hello. There's so much happening and there's so many levels of interaction here. Look at the way they're backing up, making sure that they still keep that baby in a safe position. It really is quite phenomenal to watch. While I wait for these ellies to move a little bit away from me, they are so beautifully relaxed that I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. I'm just going to sit and let them get a comfortable distance before I reposition the car. But in the meantime, Carol, you were wondering how old that little baby is. Originally I said 7 months. I'm starting to think he's a lot younger. I'm actually starting to think 4 to 5 months and possibly even younger than that. I'm actually struggling to age him. He's not as stumbly and as uncoordinated as newborns are, and it puts him just over about 3 months, but he's still very, very young. And something that I picked up on, now all female elephants have that flap of skin between their legs, and that's a sort of a lowered labia. It's extended slightly downwards, just especially for when they give birth, so that the 100-kilogram baby fetus doesn't have to fall too far when they do actually give birth. And it also makes mating a little bit easier for them, so that the females, so it can happen very quickly, and the females don't have to bear the weight of the male on their hips and their backs for too long. Now all of the females have those slightly drooping labia, but in this case I've noticed that this mother hers are still quite low down, and they do look a little bit raw, almost like you can still see evidence of the birth of that little baby, which tells me that it's not more than a couple of months old. But I'm just trying to weigh up the different levels of coordination. I'm going to say 4 months to 5 months old. Could be even younger, but that's roughly where I'm putting it at. They've moved a comfortable distance, so we can reposition around them and find a nice spot to watch their goings on. So cute. I really honestly cannot think of a better way to spend an afternoon. For me personally, to spend this much time with elephants as I have the last 2 days, and actually to spend this amount of time with this herd, has been truly special. Oh my goodness. all clumped together. Some serious family bonding happening here. Make sure we give them plenty of space, respect, especially with this tuskless female, who I'm going to give plenty of space and respect. Hello, mommy. Oh, it's chilly and rainy. Hello, big girl. Hello, my big girl. Okay, it's as close as I'll come, I promise. Just doing a quick windscreen wipe. Now this beautiful tuskless female who's come across, not in a threatening way, just in a way that tells me she is keeping an eye on me and she wants me to know that. Now, Sharon in Pittsburgh, welcome to the Sunset Safari. You were wondering if this female would ever have the chance to become the matriarch, despite or with all of her perfect imperfections. And absolutely she could. In terms of elephants, for females, although those tusks are useful for defense, they've still got that huge size. And just looking at her, she's clearly one of the biggest ones in this herd. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if she was the matriarch, especially with this protective way that she's come to stand between us and her family. And if she's not the matriarch, she would definitely be one of the high-ranking females. Rank in an elephant herd is earned by age and experience. They all have special leadership qualities, and usually it's the oldest female in the group. But she could well be the wise matriarch of them. All right, big girl. She's letting us know she's keeping an eye on us. She stopped feeding. She's just watching. The rest of them are having a wonderful time off in the ground there. All right, big girl. Hello, my big girl. All right. Just watch her behavior. She's not going to feed. She was pretending that was displacement behavior, where she wrapped her trunk around the plant. Now she's very clearly given the message to the rest of the herd to stay with her. And that's interesting. She is uncomfortable with our presence in the clearing, and she was giving us a very clear message, and now she's leading her family away. It's interesting that that's happened now in terms of the time that we've spent with these ellies. But I think we've just had a very clear indication that at least in this part of the herd, that is indeed the highest ranking female. And it could well be the matriarch. Now, in terms of warning signals, if you were watching the sunrise safari, when that young bull came up to us nice and close with his ears up and his trunk out, and we gave him a bit of a stern talking to, you'll notice I didn't try any of that with that female. I was reading her body language very carefully, and she gave us a warning. And that warning was, do not come any closer. We can still stay with them, but we're going to stay at a nice, respectful distance, because that was a very, very clear message from her. And it's important to make sure that we don't push any boundaries with these elephants. I'm going to loop around now that they have moved, but I'm going to stay quite far away from where she is. She's very, very protective of the rest of the herd. The rest of the herd are relaxed. Now, it's not uncommon, actually, as far as I know, for tuskless females to be a bit more stern about life, and that could be because they are missing tusks, so they are missing one level of a defense mechanism. And I think they might even be making their way towards the rest of the family at the dam. And we shall proceed after them, but nice and slowly and cautiously. I'm actually going to take the road so that we don't cause any unnecessary noise and crashing. We're just looping nice and slowly down to these elephants. Sandy in Palm City, Florida. I'm hoping, I said this morning as well, but I'm really hoping your weather is slightly better than ours. Ours is rather chilly, rather windy and rather drizzly. But Sandy noted that the elephant's nipple, which is up between, her nipples are up between her front legs. Sandy points out that they really are rather quite high, and would the mother, when the calf is newly born, would she bend down to help the calf feed? And that's interesting. It's actually not something I know the answer to. I'm just trying to think if I've ever seen them do that. And as far as I've ever seen, and I have seen newborn calves, they've always been able to stretch up and reach their mother's nipples. But I'm sure that elephants would definitely, if their babies, if it was a particularly tall female, if their babies were not capable of it, I'm sure that they would be smart enough to bend down for them. Oh, what a wonderful sight. I'm stopping here just because of that tuskless female giving us quite a clear indication that it was not acceptable to go too close. Look how many elephants we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 all feeding around one tree, and one little bubba at the back. It's interesting. The female on the left of this marula is also missing tusks, and that's not the same one. That's a different individual. So just to the left of your screen, just in case you were wondering what all of that raucous noise was about, it was just that one elephant got a little bit too close to the baby and it made that typical squealing noise that they do. Here we go, there's our other mother. Not the one with a notch out of her tusk, but in a moment I'm actually going to suggest that we leave this sighting. We're fine for now, but something has unsettled them in Elephant World. I can hear a lot of rumbling happening between the females. And our tuskless friend has come back to investigate us once again. Hello, big girl. You're okay. No more, big girl. She is eating, and she is chewing and swallowing. It's not just displacement behavior, but she's once again come to put herself very close to us to make the point that we are not to come any closer. Very interesting messages being passed on here. And the fact that these elephants have moved from where they were to down here and back up again, they met up with the rest of the herd who must have walked up from the dam, I imagine. So the number of elephants has increased exponentially. There's our little one again. Let's stay and watch them as they come and move past us. And then, depending on their reaction, I'm probably going to leave the sighting. It is starting to get dark, but we'll stay with them for as long as possible. Oh, little one. I am so in love with this baby. It's too adorable for words. And the special bond between them. Just going to enjoy the moment of peace as they walk past us. No, little one, that's not going to work. It's definitely not going to work. That's not Mom. I'm going to try anyway. Really, truly one of the most special elephant sightings I've had, or combined, over the last 2 days. There's something quite profound about them. Okay, we're not going to be starting the engine anytime soon to try and follow up on them. We're going to let them move peacefully. Just one more question that we have from Wolfgang while we've been sitting with this elephant. Well, Wolfgang from Sweden, welcome to the Sunset Safari. You were wondering if I could talk a little bit about the difference between African and Asian elephants. The most obvious being the size of their ears. I'm sure most people will know African elephants have very, very large ears in comparison to the Asian elephants' ears, which are probably less than half the size. Well, the other one of the main differences is their trunks. In African elephants, the lips of the trunk, so right at the end, it has 2 folds that work like this. In Asian elephants, they actually have only one, so this bottom part is just the end of the trunk, and then they use it more in this kind of manner, rather than 2, I can't remember the terminology, I want to call them fingers. They're obviously not fingers because they're part of the nose, but they work in a similar way. So African elephants have 2, Asian elephants have 1. Now, as our ellies move off, and I want to just sit and gauge their mood a little bit longer, I believe that Scott has gone from a leopard to a leopard tortoise shell. So let's see what he's up to, and I will catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone, and it sounds like Jamie certainly did get you into a wonderful elephant sighting. Sounds like there was a little bit of excitement and danger at the end there, which is great stuff, and a bit sad that she felt like she had to leave the sighting, but certainly the right move on her behalf. It's not worth taking chances with breeding herds of elephants. The mothers can get very worked up and protective over their young, and you certainly don't want to get on the wrong side of them. Now, you would have noticed we have an artifact up here on the dashboard. It's another form of leopard, but the reptilian leopard, not the mammalian one that we were looking at earlier. And sadly, this one is not alive, and as I slowly swivel the shell around, you'll see that it's been chewed on and broken up. Hard to tell by what exactly, but I'm guessing either a hyena or a lion. You've got to have very powerful jaws to be able to break into the hard shell of a tortoise. The reason why this is called the leopard tortoise is because of these beautiful leopard-like markings on the shell. And interestingly enough, we will be able to see a lot more of these in the summer months. They've been lying dormant during the winter. So quite sad that the first one we've seen this summer is a dead one. But we can gain some interesting information from it. And as I turn the shell over onto its side, you'll notice that the undercarriage is perfectly flat. And that indicates to us that it was a female. The male will have a very concave plastron, which is the term for the undercarriage of a tortoise. And that's so when he tries to jump onto the female's back for mating, that concave plastron fits nicely onto her shell, and he doesn't keep sliding off as he would if his shell was flat like hers, which would be highly frustrating for the male every time he tried to jump on. And who knows, maybe we'll get to see leopard tortoises in the throes of passion, just like we got to see the mammalian leopards in the throes of passion yesterday. So some interesting stuff and artifacts that we can find along the way. Even if they are dead, we can still find some interesting theories, and like I said, either hyena or lion would have fed on this. Quite often young and hungry lion will be the ones that feed on tortoises. A junior would be a good example of a young hungry male lion who may well be on his own in the coming months as the Birmingham boys put more pressure on him to move off away from his natal pride, which is the Nkahuma pride. And very often I've seen young male lions who are desperate, no longer have their mothers, sisters and aunts to help feed them, and it's tortoises that they rely on. So I'm just going to jump out and put this back where I found it, which is just on the side of the road here, and then we're going to continue. Sadly, the guys have lost Shadow in a very thick block, and she was moving in an easterly direction when they did lose her, heading from our left to our right. And two vehicles came racing past us on this road, trying to relocate her, and what we're going to do is loop further east of that position along Magic Willie Road. The mist, or rather drizzle, is beginning to fall quite heavily, and if it continues to do so, we may need to wrap up this sunset safari, but we're not quite there yet. But as we drive, the amounts of moisture that gathers on the camera may start becoming detrimental to the well-being of its longevity, and we of course don't want any of our equipment to break, because then the safaris would come to a serious standstill. So we would rather just stop if the weather gets too bad. And I've just heard that Jamie is rushing to shelter as the rain on the quarantine clearings is getting a bit too strong, and it could well be that we are going to be forced to be in that same situation shortly. Gendre's got a raincoat all wrapped up around the camera, trying his best to keep it dry. Shadow could pop up at any time here, and the good news is because she's headed back in this direction, who knows, maybe she wanted to come back and relocate her cub Sandile. So we must also bear in mind that we could well bump into him, and there's a lot of you, including us, that are desperate to see him. It's been quite a few days now since he was last seen, and not only him, but we could also bump into Kwatile and Tingana, a mating pair of leopards whose tracks were seen just off to our left this morning. Jandre and I have been waiting patiently, listening for about the last 20 minutes and not heard any audio, but that's not to say that we didn't miss it or that they aren't still in this area. Impala up ahead of us here. That's not to say that there's not a leopard nearby. People often have the false impression that if they see impala that are in a relaxed state, it means there's no predator around, but the predator is often unbeknownst to the prey animals until just before it pounces. They are all quite skittish though, and it's these windy conditions that are causing them to run off. Apologies for all the dots of moisture on the screen, but it is what it is. It's a live safari and we've got no control over the weather. Well, that one's carrying a snack on the road there. Interesting. You don't see that very often. We're going to continue on. I just want to make space for Ryan, who's just arrived behind us. Do you want to come past? You're more than welcome. Just blocked Ryan's route. He's rushing off, I think, also to try and get into a good spot to relocate Shadow. So we'll see him shooting past shortly, but it's a good opportunity for Jandre to clean the lens a little bit. Hi Ryan, hello everyone. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, very good.
This is Scott, guys. A very nice guy.
Don't listen to anything that Ryan tells you about me. He's a bully.
He started the first all South African girl band.
Cheers guys. He's a real character. And he's actually the head ranger here at Arethusa. He's a wonderful guy, and he often very quietly whispers nasty things to me as I'm presenting to try and throw me off whatever I'm saying. But that time, at least Jandre put him on the spot and locked in on him. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we got a question through from Renee, I think it was, and she's interested to know if the female leopard Shadow that we just saw hunting impala, whether she would have stopped now that the hyena is kind of on her trail. And it's a very, very good question, because obviously a leopardess will know that as soon as she catches anything, a hyena which is more powerful than her will be able to come in and overthrow her. So it may prevent the leopard from continuing to hunt, but what usually happens is that hyena will come into an area, check whether the leopard has caught anything. If she hasn't, it would rather move off into another area and try its luck elsewhere. Having said that though, it's not uncommon for hyena to trail leopard maybe a couple of 100 meters behind them, waiting for them to make a kill. But there's nothing the leopards can do. They can only just carry on with their business and hope that they can get whatever kill they've made up a tree to safety. And the hyenas have no ability of climbing, so that's the way that leopards can, if they're lucky, avoid their kills being stolen. Thankfully the drizzle for now has ever so slightly subsided. However, as soon as we start driving, it gets exaggerated again. So, a bit of a catch-22. We can't sit here the whole afternoon. We've got to keep pressing forward, and I would actually like to try and get slowly closer towards camp in case this precipitation increases. know, Jamie managed to find Karula this morning, and Karula is the mother of Shadow. And it's the fact that we know so much information on these leopards and also the lions and other animals within this area is a huge privilege, because many areas you may go to in Africa, they won't have as in-depth a history or knowledge of the animals that you're viewing. It may merely be a leopard or a lion. Whereas the history of these animals has been very well documented. Now all we need to top it off is to find the son of Shadow. Another interesting question as to what we think this leopard might do now is from Remay on Twitter, and they're interested to know, do we think that she would carry on hunting or possibly go and look for Sindile, her cub? And it's so hard to say. I mean, she often returns to Sindile after a fruitless hunting exercise, and that could well happen again this evening. It all depends, you know, on what they did this morning or when she last left them, which is information that we do not know, Remay. So very difficult to make a calculated guess as to what she has done or plans to do now. But I think she may have just been relocated. So I just need to listen carefully to the Crackly Game Drive channel and maybe chat to the guys and see if she has been located firstly, and then secondly, if there's possibly a spot for us to rejoin. Just a lot of chatter on the radio, so even though it would suit me to have asked that question immediately, there's people chatting about all kinds of sightings all over the show, and I therefore now have to wait my turn to communicate. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to head into the area where I think she has been relocated and take it from there. Sorry guys, not sure, has Shadow been relocated on Ellie? Okay. I'm happy to lend a hand and move out if we do relocate. So, an invisible fourth vehicle to help out. Okay, copy. So what I just said there is that I'd be happy to help these guys relocate on the leopard. I assumed that there were still 3 of them searching for it, and that is the limit to how many vehicles will be allowed to work any given area for either tracks or relocating an animal. And that's so that if and when she is found, it's fair that all 3 of those people can join the sighting. It's a limit of 3 vehicles per sighting. But I said that I'm more than happy to help, and as soon as we found her, just move out, because our operation is largely different to the guys who've got huge time pressure to find the animals and show their guests the animals before they leave. The mizzle's getting very thick, the drizzle, and Chandra is not convinced that we are going to be able to fill much longer, neither am I. So I'm not sure if Jamie is in a situation to receive you for a short moment, or whether she's made it back to safety yet. But sadly, if this weather continues to get worse than it is now, then we are going to have to probably call the show now and continue their adventures tomorrow, but we're not quite there yet. Well, happy to hear that Jamie has made it back to camp, and she's just busy drying herself off. But at least that vehicle's safe and sound and undercover, and I think it would be foolish of us not to do the same thing. But we've got good news. We'll be able to show you one last animal before we say goodbye, and it's very well camouflaged, sitting in the road. Jandre is having to use the monitor screen on my dashboard to focus because the rest of the camera is wrapped up. So well done, Jandre. And what a beautiful bird this is. It's a nightjar of sorts. I'm not sure exactly which one. There it goes. But good to end off the sunset safari, which we are going to call it a day now. It doesn't make sense for us to risk ruining any of this equipment and therefore hampering future safaris with all of you. But thank you so much for joining in the action. It's been another memorable afternoon out here in the wilderness. Don't forget the little duiker we got to see, but of course Shadow and that hunting, as well as the interaction with the hyena, was wonderful. The time you got to spend with Jamie and the elephants also sounded fantastic. So all in all, another very good safari. Thanks to Jandre on camera, and to Jess and Nikki for directing the show from the final control room. Jamie does say goodbye and thank you, but she's busy trying to sort out her vehicle and get all that paraphernalia in a dry state and make sure everything's okay. And Andrew also says goodbye. We will see you all for the action tomorrow. Let's hope the weather clears and look forward to whatever happens when we get out there.